Ladies and gentlemen, this MSI, guys, this MSI has the potential to be the best League of Legends tournament of all time in terms of the matchups that we're going to get to see, in terms of where I think that the meta is relatively interesting, honestly. I think the meta is relatively interesting. Maybe because it's fresh. I'm sure if during the World Championship we're going to see lane swaps, I'm pretty sure that that will be annoying too. But I think that it adds a layer to draft. I think it adds a layer to the game that is interesting. But currently, in terms of the matchups that we are seeing and everything play out, in terms of like caps peaking, you have Chovy fucking peaking, you have fucking Knight also peaking. In terms of who they came into the tournament as throughout the spring splits. It is crazy to think that we haven't seen a Knight Chovy best of 5 ever, and we're going to get it. Thank God. If this was a bit different tournament right now, GEN.G and Bilibili would be the finals. Past MSIs, if you think about it, guys, past MSIs, we got 3 best of 5s. And with this one, obviously we get a lot more, right? And the initial best of 5s that we saw, PSG picking up a lot of steam, showing some fight back, It's like the fact that Team Liquid get another chance. I think that's cool. They made the resurgence and beat Fnatic, who dropped the ball big time. T1 getting another chance after the Bilibili defeat to find themselves again. I think the format is amazing, and it will pain me a lot when we look back. For example, last year's World Championship, I think it would have been a lot cooler if it wasn't, if it was a situation where we had a double elimination. Imagine we had a situation where we had a T1 GDG rematch in the finals. Obviously, T1 deserved to win that because they went through the gruesome bracket, beat every LPL team to get there. But knowing that the finals was Weibo versus T1 rather than a BO5 ahead of the finals is quite disappointing, because I do think the JDG, having another shot would have been very, very interesting to see. And with that being said, meta. Let's talk about the meta of this damn tournament. My meta breakdown was pretty much spot on, I would say. I think the only thing that was different from the regular season is the fact that teams are weighing how strong champions are in lane swap a lot more when it comes to like tanks and tanks being picked and K'Sante Prio. K'Sante probably would have been played lane swap or not, but the fact that there is lane swap action makes Zac show up a lot more often, and there's that, right? I think that in terms of being greedy, in terms of what you pick bot lane, is something that is happening less, because we seem to see scenarios where matching is very relevant already early in the game, right? Matching seems to occur already 4, 5, 6 minutes in. We've never seen like a full commitment variant where both teams, like at, for example, EMA Masters, where everyone was just picking Milio and Zyra and just picking, giga greedy, Anyhow, in regards to the meta, I guess the main thing that people are wondering, right, is like Kalista Prio. It's the highest presence champion. I can say this. I think that Kalista is a champion that bridges you through the early game. I think that Draven is something that can be used as something to cut her apart. But Kalista, as a blind pick champion, basically, when you look in Kalista, your support is supposed to get a lot of value. Through the lane phase, Kalista is stronger than most ADs level 1, and that, of course, is leveraged to level 3 invades. Kalista has very great pairing with a lot of supports. You can also play, of course, Kalista support like Korea did to make sure that Varus can push her forward and play Giga Deep. I think that the main strength of Kalista is that in most games, she makes your support very strong because he can optimize his pick, and additionally, your level 3 and early levels are very strong. And then if you go lethality, you curve out really, really well, you know? It's like in terms of presence and power. Every base is powerful for you. But obviously, if Kalista is playing against fucking mages and tanks, you're not supposed to be carrying the game with Kalista. That's not the point of Kalista. Keep in mind, Kalista is being picked early to bridge your champions. If you pick Kalista and you have, for example, Azir by her side or Asol, like these are the champions that are supposed to scale in the game and carry. Your whole composition doesn't need to scale well. You need to be able to bridge yourself through every important sequence of the game. So I think it's important to highlight. I do think that Kalista, her rune should always be optimized. Lethal Tempo or Halo Blades should always be optimized towards what is better for the matchup. So I think Lethal Tempo is good when you're playing against, for example, Tahm Kench Senna or not Senna, because you know, you need to have a lot of DPS. The burst is not enough. These champions are buying armor and HP, so Halo Blades of is just not enough upfront damage, because they are the ones hitting the wave, pushing on the waves, and I can play rather safe. And Halo Blades, I think, is a more burst option, which allows you to go, of course, lethality. And I think in a lot of cases, you know, for early trades, and the lethality curve out is just very, very strong against squishier lanes, which is all the lanes besides, of course, the Senna lanes. You know, a support that doesn't farm won't generate enough gold. Nevertheless, I think that you should only choose your rune based off the matchup. I think it's very, very silly to think that a Kalista is somehow going to kill tanks. I don't think it's going to matter at all. You know, I don't think it matters at all. So just go wherever is going to win you the lane. And lethality is the choice, right? Unless you're playing against Senna, in my opinion. Because still, you know, you can go Cyril on 3, you can do some upfront damage against tanks. It's like you sparing a fucking Cassandra, you need to spare him 50 times. I don't think there's ever a situation where Kalista is going to be great into tanks. Senna is the next question. I think Senna not is what is strong. I don't think that TK is real. Like Keria is a very special Tahm Kench. Don't get me wrong. And I think that when they are playing Senna Tahm Kench against teams that they are better than, then like of course Gumayushi and Keria can carry games. But if they are playing against a team that individually is of equal level, and they can actually like pressure the TK and pressure the Senna for what they actually are, because it's like you reach a certain level, and then the truth of what the champions are and the matchups are is going to really be visible. And I think that Nautilus is just a better pairing with Senna in most cases. What's cool about Senna in a lane swap meta, it's that she has a lot of freedom of mobility. Like if your Nautilus gets a Ruby and Senna has all the freedom to move into top to pressure, move mid to pressure, and she can be very active in the game, and it's very hard for the enemy to actually set up dives on a Nautilus. Without that information, I think that Senna can be very, very OP. I think that this is a very crucial detail. You know, if we think about Senna, I think the fact that T1 don't want to play Nautilus makes their Senna worse, even though regionally their Senna Tahm Kench, I believe, was like 9-0, something ridiculous. There was also the technology that Hanwha Life did versus T1 that was very cool when they banned TK on red side, because they knew that T1 doesn't want to play Nautilus. And they got 3-0 in that series because Nautilus Senna, I think, is just a very powerful pairing because of what I said. I think that Nautilus, especially because you're picking support so early, I think that Nautilus as a champion works very similar to Vi, right? It's just an ultimate that puts pressure on mages. In the cases where we saw Senna from Senna TK from T1, it was versus, for example, Thalia, Lucian, of course, Nami too. And I think that, like, if you're playing TK against these champs, you don't do anything. It's like your feast is pointless, you get poked out, you don't have any pressure. And I think that a Nautilus ban is enough in my mind to remove Senna from the picture. And sometimes we see teams wasting bans on both. I think that Senna is tied to Nautilus, And then I think that Senna has good answers into Nautilus, which is a very different question. If the enemy has Nautilus showing and you have Senna and you pick, for example, Senna Ornn, that's cool. That's cool because then you're picking a champion that is a little bit more flexible. And I think that it becomes a little bit more interesting. TK already also has value against the fucking Nautilus ult, even though I don't think it's, great enough. But at least in this situation, you have a variant where they get value out of TK. It's just picking TK against Talia, Lucian, Nami. I think you don't want to do that. What else can we talk about? Vi Prio high. I think it makes sense, right? She just has, people talk about Vi Ari combo, Vi Talia combo, but the thing is, any champion that has spells is a combo with Vi because it's guaranteed, right? It's like Aurelion Sol, Vi is a combo. It's like I can ult on the Vi ult and then use E and CC. Like any champion that has abilities is a combo. Vi Orianna is a combo. Like you get to hit your combo for free. You get to hit your items for free because Vi ult is exactly that, right? So I think that Vi still powerful as ever. Xin Zhao is a go-to jungle after Vi is out. I think it makes sense. It's like everything is kind of centered around AD carry meta and also mid lane meta. Mid lane meta being the mages with Italia, Azir, occasional Ari, if your name is Cream, or we've seen Faker play Ari too, and then Orianna, Aurelion Sol, just mages, and then you trickle down, and then some Tristana is sprinkled in, some LeBlanc is sprinkled in, and then Corki, and then occasional Hui, right? Dakali looks pretty weak. I don't think the buff matters, right? She got 30 health. I think the main issue, I think right now, it's very important, very, very important to curve out. I think that you need to actively be powerful. I think there's so much activity in the game, meaning void grubs, there's dragons, there's turrets. I think that if you let up any steam and the enemy gets advantage, I think the teams at MSI are so fucking good at playing around, of course, being stronger on side lane. This has been a big, big trend here, is that when a team is stronger on side lane, they take over the whole map. We saw that T1 game 5 against G2. We also saw that, I believe, that game where Caps was playing Orianna against Talia, and the enemy had Talia Viego, and he was playing, something else. What's up?
Your Grandmaster girlfriend requires some healthy food to climb. What are we ordering?
I don't know.
Do you have time to order?
Not right now. Just pick me something.
Okay.
Thank you. Where were we? Like a Muppet. All right. It scared me, bro. So I think it's important to curve out and be ready to fight a lot of objectives. Padfoot, you asked, Corki isn't quite curving out like Azir or Talia. The thing is, Corki is just straight up a package merchant, right? He's just a package merchant. He has package on every Drake, so he curves out, right? He's powerful on fights that you want to choose. Then obviously he curves out. He curves out well because he's active in those situations. And then obviously Knight and Faker, they both ran it down on Corki, but it is what it is. I think it's important to curve out. Chovy, his Corki was an outlier, right? Like that game against fucking he just took a big dump on Humanoid, let's be honest. Like he burnt Flash 1v1 and Talia v Corki with a level 4 swing. Like he was a squeezer, the way he pushes and spaces is amazing. Like Chovy, the matchups for Chovy are not the same. Like Chovy is a demon. The way Chovy plays the matchups doesn't seem to be like a piece of information that you can replicate easily, for other mid laners, even like the best ones. But nevertheless, right, everything is tied in here, and I brought this up because of Vi. Like Vi is one of the few champions that actually can break through against Talia, Azir, like all these champions, forcing them to even buy Hourglass is an important aspect of their scaling, So it's like Vi is very strong, Combine's very strong too. Varus, naturally, it's like the AD meta is just surrounding Kalista, so Kalista gets first pick because she's the most flexible blind, and then the answer is Varus, and then Senna is banned in a lot of cases, and then people pick their poison. A lot of people are talking about why is Varus not picked more often. It's just because Varus is weaker against Lucian Nami, in my opinion, and also a little bit weaker against the Senna lanes than Kalista is. So the flexibility in terms of your support champ also becomes a little bit more difficult, because Varus on red side can at least counter support, and that's a big deal. Sure, if you can pick Varus and Ashe, that's a lane that's powerful in a lot of cases, but the combo Kalista Renata is stronger than Varus Renata. It's like you can get away with a lot more blindable, combos when it comes to the Kalista lock-in, right? But a team like G2 could maybe experiment with Varus, but the issue is that people are going to answer with Lucian Nami, and they're not going to go into Kalista cases, right? Another thing is, right, if we think about G2 more, I think against top esports, probably Lucian is just a good ban. And then I think they should go Varus first pick, and then they should do Draven. Like, Varus does fine into Draven out of all the ADs that are in the pool, and then I think this is the direction to go in. G2 is an outlier, because if they get the Kalista answer into Varus, they have, of course, the Poppy support, but this is something that could be banned. And I think that Poppy gets a little bit more value against Kalista than... but at the same time, I understand from the other side that Kalista Poppy is also an angle. Draven vs Lucian is not good, but that's the thing, right? It's like the enemy chooses. Like I think Varus is probably going to be the strongest blind in that series, because of both ADs playing Draven. But I think that the fact that top esports want to play Lucian Nami, I think Lucian Nami is good against Varus. So that's what's scary. I think really G2 should ban Lucian. But nevertheless, we continue. So I think in regards to the meta, like Sejuani, another conversation we can have. It's like Sejuani, people will say, wow, Sejuani's played it without melees. I do think that Maokai could be played more. In my opinion. But Sejuani is locked in because she's strong level 3. There's no jungle that can like hard stomp Sejuani level 3. She is very strong level 3. Forcing cleanse is also quite impactful in my opinion, because Ghost is so unbelievably broken. Like if ADs can play Ghost, ADs can play, other runes than cleanse. I think that it matters, I think just Sejuani is a champion that is good to blind, because there's no like really giga hard jungle matchup. It's like someone mentioned Nidalee, right? We have 2 Nidalee players at this tournament. That is something that can be relevant, but Nidalee can only be picked in very specific scenarios, right? It's like, I don't understand why T1 didn't ban Nidalee that game, because the enemy was showing Tristana already with no jungle pick. They know they need to play AP, right? Like that was a good Nidalee angle, right? Because they are already like full AD composition. You have some CC, right? They had Senna, Nautilus, Nidalee, Tristana. Like that was a very good comp for Nidalee. So she needs to, of course, have a very important, a strong lane, that pushes mid. She had Tristana, and then I think it was a big blunder to lock in Akali. They picked Akali, so Nidalee had full freedom to do whatever she wanted, because she had perma push mid, right? But nevertheless, Sejuani is picked because level 3, and then her level 6 is very good against the mages mid. Like we see so many level 6 swing timers into gank on mid, and also she's just a tank. Not every game you can have a tank top. It's like people are surprised that enemy has Sejuani and they have no melee, they don't pick Renekton. But the thing is, Renekton is quite weak right now. Renekton is kind of performing really shit at this tournament, and the thing is, Sejuani, her synergy surrounding her E really doesn't fucking matter. Like she can still apply a stun on her own, and it doesn't matter. The key thing about Sejuani is that she allows you to draft range top because you have something that creates space. That's the thing. It's like Sejuani jungle works well with the TF top as an example, or a Vayne top, because then you don't need the top laner to create space for you in fights. I know it sounds counterintuitive because she has synergy with melees, but she covers a hole in your composition that allows you to pick more flexibly in top lane too, which is of course important. So I just wanted to highlight that. I do think that sometimes the Seju prior is a little bit too high, but I understand why it's picked, and I want you to understand it too, is that having a little tank in your team allows you to pick more different champions in other roles. Because sure, you can be like GEN.G and pick these fucking full range comps that are really, really unique to play, but it's very hard to pull off without actual like space makers, because I think something that is good about GEN.G is the fact that they just manage side lanes super, super well, so they choose their fights very actively. Other than that, I think that everything has been covered in regards to, the meta read and so forth. I think that we can begin to talk about the matchups themselves. T1 versus Team Liquid. I guess we start out mild. I think that T1 is gonna smoke them. I think T1 is just gonna straight up smoke them. I feel bad for saying this because I do think that Team Liquid, I always talk about this, but I think Team Liquid is such a hallmark, like well-coached and well-led team. I sound like a one-string banjo at this point. It's like Team Liquid's progression has been like this, the entire time, very, very steady. Like this is Team Liquid's progression, right? This is Team TL progression line, which is very good, very impressive. But a team like T1, they're kind of like this, they're kind of like this. It's kind of a roller coaster ride, and they are just their floor is still, and their floor and their ceiling just beats out where TL is right now in terms of the level. I think the main thing for Team Liquid, right, is I do think that they caught Fnatic on a day where they are playing very poorly, and that's not to take praise away from Team Liquid, because they think that Eon reached a new high there. APA was like fine after game one, I think. And I think that as a team, they are solid, but I was just worried about their lane phases, man. It's like their lane phases are not sturdy, and not sturdy in the sense that they are sturdy, but I don't think it's the lane phase is high enough level to like put T1 at a disadvantage. I think that if you don't play fast enough against a team like T1, if they are allowed to regroup and think the game out, I think that this is a team that is very, very tough to beat. You need to really put your foot against their neck. And I think that that's the most important aspect about beating T1. If you look at Bilibili versus T1, this was a very, very high quality, high level game. Any moment T1 received an inch of space, they took it. And I think that Team Liquid aren't playing at a high enough level in terms of how they express their macro and how quickly and nimble they move with jungle support in terms of taking space. So I think that T1 is going to just blow them up here with a 3-0. To talk a little bit more about T1 and what we want to see as the tournament progresses, because I guess we won't have these conversations by the time the tournament kicks together and moves forward. I think that T1, their biggest issues, like if we look at the drafting, right? I think the main thing for T1 is that they have the carry players in top lane and also in support. And I think it was cool that in game one here that they actually were willing to play Alistar, because this is an aspect of T1 that we, missed, right? It's like they want to play carry, top, and sup. But right now in the current meta, the space makers are occasionally, usually it's like you want to, in your compositions, how you build them, you want to like have champions that can face check, create space for you, create space for mages and carries. They often come from support role, sometimes come from top role as well with K'Sante and Zac. They come from jungle too. But the way T1 have structured themselves and when they succeed the most is when Owner and of course Faker can be the ones to create space. That's like, in those metas, they are at their best. Gumayushi usually picks a champion to enable Kiria to play what he wants. And the carries of this team is Kiria and Zeus. But when I say carry, meaning like having the most amount of flexibility in the way they pick. And Faker plays cookie cutter champs, Owner plays cookie cutter champs. Like Rel being out of the picture sometimes leaves them with a gaping hole. But like here, Alistar was the only lock-in that they could do right. I think Rel is a piece of shit, so I was surprised that it was locked. I think it's like 0-4 this tournament. Like Rel just can't play against mages, high-range mages. You're just not strong enough. But Alistar gets locked in. That was like a good sign. I think that when Zeus plays Like Zeus has been playing some Zac and some Kisante. It's like Zeus as a player, he wants to keep people in lane. He wants to fight people against people in lane. He wants to be able to farm freely on fucking, of course, side lane. So if his team is being pressured on mid wave, Zeus dies on side. So Zeus, if he gets to lane, gets to farm on side, he will carry you in fights. Like, he is a fantastic mechanical player, but his play pattern is very, very triangular, you know? That's like where Zeus at his best, when he gets to counter whatever he wants, because counter, when he gets to counter, he's very happy. You saw his Yone, that's like at his best, right? He gets to play in isolation. He has the room in the draft to pick Yone as for example, an answer. That's just the example I'm running with. He gets to lane, and then he gets to team fight, right? That's like the cycle, the best version of Zeus that we see. But currently, it's like with the existence of lane swaps and needing to have tankier champions for top, Zeus's biggest strengths can be enabled, you know? And that's a tough one, right? That's a tough one. Additionally, in regards to draft, it's like people talking about, like, I think the T1 stands, they say, look, they are banning out Faker and his teammates don't do anything with it. I think that there's some degree of truth with that, but also if you can ban 3 champions against a player and he falls out of favor, that's a very good strategy. If you look at it from the GEN.G side, right? It's like teams don't ban mid laners against Chovy. Because it doesn't make sense. That is strength, right? That is a big strength. Sure, you hope that if the enemy invests 3 bans, that you're supposed to gain something elsewhere, right? Like in the final game of T1 against Bilibili, their gain was that they got Kalista with Talia Varus out. That was their gain, right? And they got Renata Glask into Nautilus. That's like the trade-off, right? And that's fine. That's fine, right? He got 5-pick counter Gwen versus Kisanta and still went even against Keen. The thing is, Gwen is not so strong right now, and I think Kisanta actually wins that lane. Gwen is more of a neutralizer when it came to fight, right? I just want to make the point that, like, you can still make the point that Faker has a problem in his champion pool, because for a very long time, Faker has been a specialist of 3 champions, and that's fine, right? Like if we look at Faker, something as recent as the world's main event, right? He circled around Azir Orianna, and that's fine. Sometimes you have the room to do so. But if teams come in very well prepared and they're willing to play everything in bot and everything has been kind of figured out to that degree, then this is something that they can that's something that they can target, right? And it is something that I don't know, and I don't think that any other team besides Bilibili has the room to do this against T1. I think T1 will only have this problem against Bilibili. Bilibili plays Senna, they play Lucianami. Maybe Top Esports are capable because they have the Draven in the pocket, right? But I think other bot lanes need to invest bans into bot. They need to ban Ashe, for example, you know? For example, G2 banning Senna. They don't want to touch it. They don't want to play against it. They ban Ashe, right? These are bans that other teams might not want to do, right? I also said ahead of the tournament that T1 gameplay is hard countered by lane swapping. Like, a lot of their strengths just disappear with lane swapping being a thing. You can't over-index on the lane matchup, and Zeus can't play carries freely, you know? So there's that too. So T1 not playing Nautilus, champion pool in mid lane, and finding, you know, ways to enable Zeus's biggest strengths. this is the hardest part for them. I think that Gumayushi is set in the meta. I think that Owner is playing like, you know, the Zinzao, Sejuani, whatever the fuck. I think that's fine. But I think these are the things that T1 really, really need to figure out. Because I think in terms of gameplay, I think that they are still good. In terms of gameplay, they are really, really fucking good. But it's not going to be good enough to have these fucking flaws in the way you draft. And the main thing, I think, the issue in terms of gameplay is Zeus getting caught on side and Faker lane phase. Like Faker against Caps and against Knight got completely annihilated. Like to the point where it became a problem. In the G2 series, Faker bounced back, which was super cool to see with the Ari gameplay, right? He bounced back. He had a decent Azir game too. But they started off on the back foot in that series because of how much better Caps was, right? Even in the game one that they won, Caps solo killed them, right? That was thanks to Hans and not being able to cleanse. He didn't have cleanse, so he couldn't cleanse. It's like if we're gonna want to play that game where every good play ever made is based off of someone else's mistake, then you're going to really not enjoy watching League of Legends ever, you know? Because every great play is on the back of a mistake. Even like how Rio played the 1v1 against Faker Z. He fucked up really, really hard. He really entered. But to talk about that is just boring, you know? Because I think it's often very implied. But okay, I think we talked enough about Team Liquid and T1. I think it's going to be interesting, Team Liquid and T1, in terms of how, you know, the mid lane pool is going to look like, because both mid laners, you know, can be hit with target bans. But I think the Team Liquid is a team, for example, that needs to invest bans in bot lane. So I do think that Faker is going to be, you know, allowed to play what he wants to play. Another detail, right? Another detail of this specific series is that T1 banned Ari every single game. So they are banning one of their own champs in the process too, right? That's why I don't think that any other team can replicate what Bilibili did. That's my take, right? I don't think any other team will replicate what Bilibili were capable of doing against T1. So don't be surprised if T1 actually make a run through the lower bracket. I think you shouldn't count out T1. I think Bilibili being able to play everything bot and having the room to ban mid laners is crucial. Because T1 against GEN.G, they have advantage in bot lane, right? GEN.G have advantage in Chovy's pool, but top esports, for example, there's not crossover into what they want to play. Cream doesn't want to play Talia, right, as an example. Ari is something that they can open, maybe they can pick something into it, right? And they can contest for champions. Top esports have a great bot lane, so maybe they have room to ban, and maybe they'll go deeper, right? It's just that I think Bilibili right now is a very fucking complete team. Besides the one detail that is very crucial is that Knight doesn't want to play ASOL, doesn't want to play Azir. And that can be problematic when they face GEN.G, right? Why did Bilibili struggle with the PSG and then smash T1? I think they just kind of look rusty, and I think game 2 as well. I think they just were very disrespectful. Like he bought fucking Medjay on Oriana, and they threw a 10k gold lead, you know, Knight was picking Azir in LPL. I test, brother. I test. His Azir is not great. His Azir is not great. His Corki was also shit, right, for Knight. But let's move on to the next series. Top Esports versus G2. Top Esports versus G2 is a very interesting one. I think the first thing to hit is the fact that I think G2 is a much better lane swap team. 369 as a player has been atrocious at lane swapping. He simply doesn't know which waves to catch, which waves to be on, which waves to move on. Like 369 gives up way too much and is always in terrible conditions post lane swap. I think that 369 really needs to wake the fuck up. because honestly, BB has had a way better tournament. BB should be in the conversation for like the best performing top laner, right? Like BB has been really, really good. I think BB understands lane swap super, super well, plays the right champions. Now you can argue that the meta is perfect for BB, but you know, this is a meta that, you know, sure, NIP ushered in, but G2 puts a lot of time and effort into it, you know? So I do think that BB comes in as better than 369. I think that 369 is still a fantastic team fighter. If he can lane and play a standard game, you don't underestimate 369 because he's a fucking demon in it. Like 369 Kesante has still carried fucking games at this tournament, okay? He still has carried games with Kesante. He has carried games with Renekton. Like 369 is still, if you look at what his skill set is, he can still be a very powerful force. So even though I do think that BB has had a better performance, you cannot underestimate 369. I think it's still fair to say that BB has really broken out with his performance. I think his Yasuo games, like that first Yasuo game he played against TF was very nice. His Zac is very cool. His Kesante, has he played Kesante this tournament? I can't even recall, honestly. But I think that's cool, you know. I think BB is a player. I think BB, Caps, and Mickey really thrive in metas where they can actually be creative. I don't see Zeus as a very creative player. He does what he does insanely well, and the game has been just that for a very long time. You just have to fucking practice one kick over and over again. How many games of Aatrox do we see him dominate, playing through the same flank and the same pocket? He did it at Worlds, continued, like Aatrox, he hit his items, you press tab, and you saw it, fuck me. Aatrox has 2 items, when he gets Cyrilda, this game is over, right? That's Zeus's strength. And 369 is also in that pocket, you know? But I think that BB is just a very creative player. And currently in lane swap meta, you are benefited by that. It's not only like lane swapping from level 1 that is so crucial, because I think G2 is very clever with how they leverage level 1 as well, right? Level 1 activity in terms of split maps with Zac. That is something they do super well. They did that in, of course, game number 5 against T1. If you guys remember, the game number 5 against T1. This one, the reason Poppy was running this fucking map was because the level 1 invade with Zac. And it's not only because of the swaps, but it's just because they did the Scions invade with Zac committing, right? And that's super, super cool. And it's also something that extends, like after first base, that you can do a little swing into topside and you can be flexible. And I think this is where G2 is very tough to play against, you know? It's like G2 is very tough to play against because you need to think about these things all the time. And I think it makes the teams with maybe better individual players, you know, it drains you. If you are in that state of mind where you are practicing the same thing over and over again, you can reach really high proficiency on certain things. And I think that's where the demons of this tournament are the most comfortable. But BB is like G2 is kind of the southpaw. They are kind of the southpaw. They make you think twice, you know. You need to reposition and you come into the arena and you need to fucking have a different stance, you know? Even though you hit harder, you're more precise, you are quick and more nimble, like you need to kind of get a feel for that, right? But I think the shock value of what G2 do definitely wanes out as the tournament progresses. But we can move on. Jungle, I think the Tian, I think versus Yike, I think that you know, Yike has found solace in playing in Jarvan. I think that they find engage on Jarvan. I think after the T1 series, they recognize in this game, fuck me, we can't engage on the Varus, even with Zac only. They find a little Jarvan to fill in more engage. They seem to look to find Yike to play him more engaged champs, right? Play the Vi more, play the Jarvan more. I think that's like healthy. I think that's okay. Tian is like a little Sejuani merchant, you know, plays a lot of Sejuani. But I think that Jungle isn't going to be like the most crucial matchup here. I don't think it's going to be the most crucial one. In terms of mid lane, Caps, even though we talk about Chovy champion pool, Caps is someone that is really, really, really fucking effective in terms of being able to play a lot of champs. That's the doorbell. Let me just open the doorbell. Hold on. Whoa. Hold on. So Caps as a player, right? Caps as a player, he can play the Corki, he can play the Asol, he plays a really good fucking Azir, Ari, LeBlanc. He's the mid laner with the biggest fucking champion pool of them all. Keep in mind, like sometimes we have this conversation. Like people think just because Faker has played like 90 champs in his career, that's his champion pool. Because I love Faker, but the Faker conversation always becomes weird because I talked about how people are coping that him banning out Faker. It's like, wow, they banned against so many champs against him and his team did nothing. And that's the focus, not the focus that Faker can be targeted like that and become a liability. Right? It's like Caps is someone that plays things effectively. It's like someone mentioned that didn't like his Talia. I don't think that was relevant to his Talia, honestly. I think that he made like some mistakes, but I don't think that was relevant to Talia. I think like he looked fatigued when it came to that game 5. I'm going to be perfectly honest. You know, he did like some weird face checks or whatever, but I don't think that's Talia relevant. Like Talia he was running the region with Talia locally, so I don't think that that's something that I would worry about. I think that Caps plays everything, and I think that's really, really, really insane, really, really good, because I think that Cream is a player that you can't underestimate. Like someone in chat wrote, he solo killed Faker, Cream is nothing. Bro, Cream is a fantastic player. Don't underestimate Cream. The main issue for Cream, right, is that he doesn't play Azir. Doesn't play Asol. His Talia is fucking whack. Right? You don't underestimate Cream, I'm telling you this. Like Cream, like even in the series against GEN.G, even in the series against GEN.G, fucking Cream was playing fucking good, by the way. I think the Cream is the type of player that with enough time, he's going to be one of the fucking greatest mid laners. 100%. This is the player that is going to be amazing. It's like you watch him in solo queue, honestly, he's a fantastic player. He's going to be up there and he's going to compete and he's going to be a fucking fantastic player. But he doesn't play Azir, doesn't play Asol, doesn't play Talia. That is a flaw. That's a flaw. So what does Cream do well? Like Akali is fucking useless, I think. Akali is fucking useless in my opinion. I think that he played the mean Corki. His Corki was solid. Ari is fantastic. Don't fucking fill yourself on that. Don't huff too much Fnatic versus top esports smoke. His Tristana is fucking insane. And then his Hui is also monstrous, right? His Hui is also fucking legit as fuck, man. Try to think if there's anything else that I'm missing in terms of the champions that he likes to play. You know, he has the fucking, of course, he has the Yon in his back pocket. He has the Silas in his back pocket. He plays Azir, not really. Like his Azir is fake, man. Like his Azir is like Night Azir, to be honest. Like maybe he can pick it if he needs to. But that's that, you know. He has the Akali in the back pocket too, but I just feel like these champions are not so strong right now. So the highlights here is just Corki, Ari, Tristana. I wouldn't be surprised if top esports just ban Orianna every game. I think that's an angle. Just ban Orianna every game. I think that he has answers into other champs. So I think that's cool. I was wondering why no one picks Quaid at this tournament. Usually, Hui is a champion that gets picked into 4-5 and it gets banned out against players that do play it. Like, think for example this one. Faker is someone that plays Hui, right? He has also a pocket pick. The thing is, Hui can only be played against compositions that don't have a tank. But often you see a tank. Hui really loses steam and value when there's a Kisanta on enemy team, Zac on enemy team. So it's tough. But I think Tristana will be heavily contested for sure. Tristana will be contested. I think it's a very important champ. And then additionally, I think that top esports generally should ban Orianna every game, in my opinion. Like, top esports should ban this champion because it's good into all of his champs. It's good into Corki, good into, of course, Tristana too. And it's decent into Ahri as well. And I think that top esports should make a plan around Cream. Right? Don't drop mid. Make sure that he can pick something that he's good on and don't drop mid. Because like T1 was very greedy, right? Like T1 was very, very greedy here. It's like if your mid laner, gets targeted like this, it's time to fucking pick his mid lane champ here, Just fucking pick whatever he's best at, But Billy finding the Tristana here into bans was brilliant. Really, really brilliant. Can you explain why Chovy's Corki was winning against Faker's Orianna? Chovy Corki lane phase is insane. His lane phase is nuts on everything. It's just the way he spaces and baits out abilities and plays on max range. It's just Chovy is just the best league player. Like, in terms of level, he's the best league player to have ever touched the game. He is the best league player to ever touch the game. The GOAT conversation is a different conversation because it's about career and it's about like longevity and all that conversations. But in terms of peak level, I don't think anyone comes close to Chovy, man. It's like, there's been periods, right? There's been rookie period 2018 was, wow. There was Zeka, like the world's DRX. It's like crazy. But Chovy has been insanely good as like just in the game for so long. Like, the last 2 years have been amazing. In Griffin, he was a monster. Hot take, but this is what laning against Faker for years does to you. Well, the thing is, Faker peaked a very long time ago. And there's no shame in that. But Faker was the inspiration to most of the mid laners in Korea. But you need to give props to the other mid laners in Korea too. You need to give props to them too. Showmaker, right? Showmaker, BDD, like Korean mid laners have been a thing because I think Faker served as a big inspiration. But you need to give credit to everyone involved there too, Zeka at the World Championship, that's one of the greatest performances of all time. But I think that we are moving a little bit too far away. Like 2018 rookie, or 2017 Faker, or 2013 Faker, 2015 Faker. Like he was meant to back then, But nevertheless, I think that champion pool wise, Caps should have an advantage. They should remove Tristana from the pool. And I think that Orianna will be removed from the pool too. I think these will be things that are targeted. Caps has Azir in his pocket, Talia in his pocket. And then I think the question is, where do they see their blinds to go? I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Caps Azir come out, because he needs to think about what is good against the enemy comp, right? LeBlanc was the tech that Fnatic did, the LeBlanc blind, which is interesting, like LeBlanc blind, but that's good to remove Tristana then, because Tristana is the best answer into it. He also has ASOL. I have to give advantage Caps, not because I think that he is super much better, but he's super much better in the fact that he can play fucking everything, right? That's giga broken right now in the meta, and we see how someone like Cream could be targeted, someone like Faker could be targeted. Now the main conversation piece, and where top esports have the biggest advantage, is of course the bot lane. I think that how things will pan out, in my opinion, is that this is a very fun matchup because both teams play Draven, right? So Kalista lock-in will be unlikely, right? Kalista lock-in will be very unlikely. I could see top esports lock in Kalista and say, let's swing some dick. I want to see your Draven, right? But I don't think that, of course, I don't think that G2 will do the same. I think they would be very scared of enemy Draven, and I think that's the right thing to think about. Something that top esports do, they have really, no respect for Vi, which I think is kind of crazy. I think that G2 should ban Lucian every game. I think if they ban Lucian, they can then prioritize Varus over Kalista. And I think Varus does better against Draven than Kalista does. Another thing that they could try is just to straight up roll out the Draven and just play it. Because I think if they first pick Draven, I think that's a solid move. I'm thinking from G2's blue side perspective, right? I don't get excited by G2 playing Lucian. I don't get excited by it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like currently, I would love to see Hansama play Varus, and I want to see him play Draven. This is where I place him. I want him to play these champs. Why T1 ban it? I don't know why T1 ban it. I think when I did the breakdown, I did say that T1, I think they made a mistake by banning T1 banning Lucian every game. I think that was a mistake. I think this was a mistake. I think that they should have opened up the series with some more breathing room, I think banning Lucian every game was a mistake from T1. So just because T1 did it doesn't mean that it's good, because T1's drafting has not been that great at this tournament. In the last teams that are available, I do think that T1 is probably the weakest drafter, right? So when it comes to the bot lane, I think Lucian... Whoa, what the fuck happened? That's thick, man. Lucian ban for G2, just to open up more Varus breathing room. And then I think Nautilus ban. Don't ban Senna, ban Naut, in my opinion. I think Nautilus is the way to go. Another thing is, I would love to see if they actually consider playing Senna Nautilus themselves. I think that could be an interesting tidbit to kind of explore. But I think Nautilus, Lucian, like if G2 open up with these bans and pick Varus / Draven first pick, I think it could be interesting, I think this could be like cool to explore. I think that would be cool to explore. Top esports, I think they need to make sure that Orianna is out. And I wonder if they're going to ban Poppy. It's interesting, right? I think Poppy, the strength of Poppy is that she's very strong level 1. Like, she's very strong level 1. Like, if you want to remove, like, comfort, I think this is like a good opener, This is a good opener. And then this could be a flexible ban in case you need to ban like a bot laner, right? Because let's say enemy bans Varus and Draven, then maybe you want to ban Kalista here, right? Could be a ban, right? So there's that. In terms of who I favor, I think a very important detail for top esports, which I think early game G2, due to their prowess surrounding lane swaps and team esports being really bad at it, I think is a strength that G2 should leverage. They should leverage champion pool mid, lane swaps, pick winning bot. Pick winning bot. I think these are the keys to victory, man. I think this is the key victories for them. Just pick Varus Draven, really. Pick Varus Draven. Let's fucking go, man. That's the way. Top esports, I think top esports team fighting is better. That part about top esports is very dangerous. They want to play standard and then secure mid 1, 2, 3. Like, they need to secure mid 1 to 3. Top esports really need to secure mid 1 to 3. Really. Make sure that you have Ari, Hui, Corki into bans. Like, you need to compete for the champs. And if you have room, just fucking slam a K'Sante. I don't know what the side selection is, but my prediction for this one is going to be 3-2 Top Esports. I think it's going to be a very close series, and it's just a question of how can G2 be, how easily can they drag Top Esports into the mud. G2 have some strengths, but I think that if Top Esports find the right champions, I think that they are the better players at this tournament. Kind of cop-out prediction, not gonna lie. What are you talking about? Shut the fuck up. You're just saying words. I just fucking talked about it for fucking 20 minutes straight, man. And now you tell me that it's a cop-out prediction. I think that the team fighting will matter. I think that Cream is a very, very underestimated player. And I think that the bot lane of Top Esports is just so strong. It's so strong. It's also strong. And I think that G2 can make it very dirty. I think Cream is bad. I think that you are delusional if you think Cream is bad. Really delusional. You watch Cream lane, like everyone references back to this, right? Everyone references back to this. No, but Cream is bad as... everyone thinks about this, Fnatic versus TES. But like, focus on this. Like, the game one, right? Game one. Game one, right? This, people watch this and said, decide the Cream is bad. Okay? People watch this and decide that Cream is bad. But bro, people broke this down and don't even realize that Humanoid is taking 3 melees. Like, look at Humanoid XP pop up here. Right now, Humanoid, he got 4 CS of XP. Look at his XP bar. Okay? Look at his XP bar. And now Cream walks back, and he walks back to lane with no potion, and Humanoid is level 2. And Ari started Q in this matchup when she shouldn't. People looked at this and said Cream is bad. Caps is having a great tournament. Caps is having a great tournament. Like, Caps is having a fantastic tournament. But to say that Cream is bad or that he's gonna take a big shit on him is really not the take. Like, just even the most recent series. Watch GEN.G versus Cream. Like, watch Chovy versus Cream. Cream held up, man. Cream held up, and he fucking carried some games, man. Cream is fucking good. Cream is fucking good, and like, Cream is fucking good, but Caps can have a tournament of a lifetime. Both things can be true. All I'm saying is, right now, Faker is not having a good tournament. So it's not like a unit of measurement, right? It's not a unit of measurement. The big thing for me, right, about Top Esports and their early game, I think that one thing about this team is that Cream is left alone. He is left alone. I think 3v3 wise, in terms of how Caps uses jungle and support, I think that is something that can be dangerous for Cream. I think Cream as an isolated player is fucking good. He's really fucking good. But the 3v3, like, let me just play through the variant where like, if G2 wins, right? A G2 win is when they 3v3 mid, get advantage for caps, and Tian and Meiko are playing more for Jackie Love, right? That's a way to break it down. Lane swaps, I mentioned. Lane swaps make the game dirty and chaotic and pushing bot, right? Like if they can secure this, I think there's an angle for G2. I think this is still quite a close matchup. It's a close matchup, you know? It's a close matchup. But I do think Top East was going to win. I think Top East was going to win. I just worry. I see Jackie Love compare him to Hans Sama in his tournament right now. I think that's something that is rough. And I think that Cream is having a fine tournament. I don't think that he's going to get stomped by Caps, even though I think Caps is currently the better player, right? Even in my tier list ahead of this tournament, I put Caps above Cream, right? Cream is not super experienced. That can have a factor, right? But I don't want to go into like intangibles. Yike will gap them all. Yike just the best EU player right now. I think that's ridiculous. But I think it's time for us to move into the next matchup. Something that we can look at, right, is like top esports. Is like this Akali, I think, was really out of place. Picking Akali into Corki is complete troll, right? You have a situation where top esports picked Corki themselves blind, like they just dry picked it with Aurelion Soulban, and they picked fucking Azir into it. Here, this was weird, uncharacteristic here from the Chovster to just lock in Azir, right? This was odd. Let's look at some of the other games. Top esports just set up a Tristana draft, right, off the Ari ban. That's cool with Aurelion Soul out, you know. It's just I'm curious what Caps is going to cook mid lane, you know. It's like G2 is the team that is most likely to beat other teams in ways that you can only do once. And that's a big strength coming into elimination matches. Big strength. G2 is probably the team at the tournament with the best preparation. G2 coaching staff, goated. Really goated. Of course, when they don't drop shit like this, when they pick Lilia Tristana 1-2. Or Belveth. Let's just pick standard champs for our boy. Yike Lilia is good, but bro, it's just not a good champ. Just pick Javan, Vi. Bro, Yike, just play Maokai. No joke, Yike, play Maokai. I don't think Belveth and Lilia are the issues. Bro, how do you want to play Lilia against TF, Azir, Alistar, Zinza, Varus? Like, Lilia just sucks ass here. Belveth, here, they pick Belveth because of level 1. And he ran it down. He did run it down. But at some point, you need to face the music, right? You need to face the music. If you're going into the game with Lilia, and you know that you need to buy QSS, bro, like, good luck, man. Yeah, Rek'Sai, Vi, Javan, that's great for Yike. That's great. They picked Belveth. The only reason they picked Belveth because of level 1. Belveth is OP level 1, and we are going level 1 with Poppy, Zac. That was the whole strat. But he really, really ran it down. Like, let me show you guys. T1 versus G2, game 5. All right, let me just show you guys this real quick. This was absurd what Yike did. Look what Yike did here. So they have the level 1 strat. They are popping off, right? They're getting the Gumayushi sums. They are Caps mispositioned here, lost his flash. They're doing a little poke battle here. Caps is re-entering mid because the melees are dying. And then here, I don't know what Yike does, man. Yike just loses the plot completely. Yike here goes and invades fucking Wolves. Like, sure, he cancels the Kesanta TP situation to go into topside, but Yike went for Wolves on his lonesome, son. That is crazy talk, man. That is crazy. That is crazy talk, man. Nevertheless, let's talk about that final matchup, GEN.G versus Bilibili. So I called Bilibili as the favorite to win the tournament, right? I think that they showcase how fucking good they can be against T1. That was a crazy good series. Bilibili ran through the LPL with ease. I believe they even broke records through the LPL, and I think that most people don't watch LPL. LPL doesn't have high viewership. Most people don't watch LPL, and that's why it's like on my side and also Dom's side. I know that he's the same way. If the conversation is in a specific direction, for example, when people call Jackie Love a choker, or like call Chovy a choker, or call Jackie Love just a player that flashes in and, oh, Jackie Love int, ha ha ha. Like, we fight these narratives because we know they're not true, right? We fight them. We fight them really, really, really hard. And the same thing for Bilibili. Like, Bilibili is a fantastic team. What is Bilibili's strengths? I think that they are by far the strongest early game team. Their early game, when it comes to how Shun and On control it, bleeds into mid game too. Shun and On's map presence, map control, this is the best jungle support. Like, so fucking good. Better than Missing and Kanavi from last year, in my opinion. Like, these guys, just how they dominate the map and how they snowball the game and don't leave any room to breathe is brutal. It's very, very brutal. And I think this is going to be the biggest advantage for Bilibili against Gen.G. I don't think Lehens and even fucking Canyon can keep up. Canyon is my jungle goat. Don't get me wrong. But when we have situations in his game 5 against Top Esports versus Gen.G, like, if mistakes like this, which are frequent, this just happens to be like a example. Like, if he's in the game, like, usually the reason Cannon's my GOAT is just he found such a high peak in terms of jungle. Tian did the fucking greatest fucking flash of all time here. But Canyon makes imprecisions. Even though Canyon, we understand that he has it in him, but there are imprecisions here that Chovy has had to fucking cover for. He has really, really had to cover for. Like, here as well, he goes for his chickens. It's like he's 0-2-0 on this fucking Nidalee lock-in. And this is the game 5, right? This is the game 5. Things could get dangerous. This got really, really dank, you know? It got really, really dank, and I don't think it's necessary. This is only one example, but I think there's like other examples too. I remember there was moments where Canyon did this even in the regular season, and in playoffs there were moments where Canyon was a bit of a letdown. He had really good games, but he has also bad games, and I think that's important to highlight. I think in that game, you know, Chovy on Corsair, like, really, really smurfed it. Do you think he should play normal champs? Honestly, like, the best games were when he, like, fucking locked Kha'Zix into Zinza, right? So, like, I like the fact that he's willing to do so, but like, you need to be fucking precise, man. You need to fucking be precise. So I think that Lehens and Canyon, these are still like elite level players, right? But I think that Shun and On just play at such a higher level of consistency than these guys, that I think that if you make a mistake against these two, they will take over the whole map. They will take over the whole map. He eventually did really well with that Nidalee. He recovered that game, right? There was a gank on bottom side with a TP of Keen, and eventually, you know, they recovered. But for me, Bilibili, it's like the consistency and the macro of a team is always bound in the support and the jungle in my mind, and I think they are the best. I think that Chovy as a player is better than Knight. This is where Gen.G can find the angle. It's like Chovy plays Aurelion Sol, he's can lock Corki, he plays champions that Knight is not willing to play. Like, this is where Knight can be in trouble. What about the Bilibili games versus PSG? The Bilibili games were like, they don't fucking matter in my opinion. I've watched maybe 100 Bilibili games this year. Not 100, maybe like 50, 60, 70, something like this. Like 60 games maybe. I don't believe in PSG should have won. Then you can say Bilibili should have won game 2. Like if you want to play that game. You can definitely. I hate playing that game. Should have, could have, would have. You know. I think Chovy should have the advantage against Knight. He has the Corki in its pocket. Acel. You know. This is Chovy meta mid, right? This is Chovy meta mid. He should be willing to play these champs. And if Chovy can somehow find the capacity to carry, man. But one game, PSG just ran over them, though. Yeah, what happened game 1? What happened game 5? Bilibili took a big dump on them. And game 2 also, they pick a dump, the big dump on them. Like, you're so selective in your argument that you don't realize that you are twisting it yourself, you know? Yeah, Tom Brady definitely should not have let his wife study jiu-jitsu. For sure. So, we continue. What else is there to cover? Keen versus Bin. I think that Keen and Bin are quite similar. Keen has had some Vayne games. Right? He has had some Vayne games. TF has been played. TF has been played. I don't know, like top lane is such a weird position because as sad as it might seem, I don't think that these guys, I don't think it matters. I just don't think top lane matters. Play Kisante, play Ozak, who the fuck cares? It's gonna be like bot lane 3v3, mid fighting, and then, you know, like you're just gonna be like 100 CS and everyone around you is higher level than you. Like maybe you're gonna be a dog in the dog in like a lane swap. Like top lane, top lane is not an interesting lane, even though we have Zeus, Bin, Keen, 369. You have like all these top lane legends, but top lane just isn't interesting at this tournament, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest. So there's that. I think Bilibili will ban Acel. I think that Elk is much better than Pays. I think they will ban Acel. It's like Bilibili have the room. It's like Bilibili have, as I mentioned before, Bilibili probably the only team that has room to target ban Faker the way they did. And they can now ban champs to make Knight very comfortable. It's like Azir you don't need to ban because the champions that, of course, Knight plays are good against them. So banning Aurelion Sol can be good. You also need to remember that Knight has a Syndra in his back pocket, right? Syndra in the back pocket. I think that Knight can find ways to play to get good matchups. I think I favor Bilibili here. I think that Bilibili will actually straight up fucking. I think Bilibili will fucking 3-1 them. I can see them winning one little squeeze here. GEN.G could win one little game because sometimes Bilibili can be a little bit too loose. But I do think that Bilibili is straight up just the more complete team. But GEN.G have the best player in the world in their team. And the question is, how hard can he carry? I think that they like, in terms of like spoofing some pick and bans, we can do that. Pull up this LS website. It's like, let's say GEN.G style blue side, right? I think Ari could be a likely ban. I wonder, it's like they will probably look to first pick Kalista, right? And the question is if they're going to chip away at the pool of answers. I wouldn't be surprised if like a Nautilus ban also comes through. That could be interesting. I think Acel ban. How much has Faker? How much has Chovy played Orianna in his career? That doesn't ring a bell to me. How much Orianna does he actually play? That's one game of Orianna. He's not a big Orianna enjoyer, isn't he? Like Orianna and Syndra are two champions that I don't put Chovy on. Orianna and Syndra. Like Orianna and Syndra, I guess 31. That's a lot of fucking Orianna games, man. A lot of fucking Orianna games. Like he didn't play Orianna last year at Worlds. Let me just check. World's main event. Like he didn't play some fucking Orianna, man. No Orianna, no Syndra. That's something that Chovy has never enjoyed playing. So I think like Acel ban, you know, maybe like they straight up just fucking ban Corki too. And maybe that's just the opener that they do. And it could be that maybe we see a situation where they push, like where we're going to have Lushinami into Kalista lane. Maybe this is a situation where GEN.G can be happy with, or maybe where they ban or match, and then they play like the Lulu lanes, like the Lulu, like Elkenon are crazy good on Apelios Lulu, man. Like maybe there's some room here, man. Because there's like in all of this, there's also Vi open, right? They need to consider Vi as well as a ban. Maybe this is just what they need to ban and open Varus. Then we have Kalista first peak. And you go in this direction. Could be that you go in this direction. Maybe you just go in this direction. Because like Vi is also important ban. I think Shun is just the best fucking Vi at this tournament, bro. So there's that. Isn't Draven supposed to be good against Lucian? Yes, but you can change what you pick, right? Depending on what you see. Canyon Vi was horrible, man. This could be a situation, right? Could be Talia first pick too. Could be an angle, right? Maybe after what they saw, maybe they think that, bro, maybe just straight up fucking do this, man. But then the question is, like, what does he pick into Azir? Maybe not. Talia first pick. There's a Tristana angle, right? Like they just pick full bots and they go Tristana angle. Like they go like Kalista X. But I wonder what kind of jungle, like in that game that we saw, the last one here, right? It's like T1 they banned Sejuani over Nidalee, which is crazy. That is like just so bad, I think. That is just so bad. On is also a player that has played Kalista support, but you're picking 3 ADs like this, it's kind of mental. Also Syndra in Night Pocket, Nico in Night Pocket. The thing is, Chovy has to win mid to win the game, while Knight can just play safe. Of course, that's a big advantage, yeah. Knight has the better team. That's what you're saying, right? Knight has the better team. That is a big advantage, yeah. Being in a situation where you can do less, like, yeah. How about Nico support from on? Yeah, it could happen. Yeah, like they can go Nico like this, right? I'm just like the most interesting aspect is just 1 to 3 bands, right? Where are we going? I wonder if the angle is to just open Azir and like maybe Knight goes so far to lock it in himself, you know? Maybe he goes so far to lock it in himself. We shall see. Thing is, Chovy also plays a mean-ass Tristana, man. He plays a crazy good Tristana. I think Keen is the best Rumble at the tournament. Like, that could be, like, some cookery, you know? That could be some baking. Like, this is a fucking turbo rotation, right? It's like Kalista with Rumble Flex, and then, like, a Tristana angle. Like, this is some nice shit, man. This is some good shit. What happened to the Annie pick? Annie was only picked into Ahri. Like, Annie is an answer into Ahri. So we shall see. I wonder how they're going to maneuver around the bans. I think Asol Corki bans, bro. I think this makes sense. And then the question is, do we have answers into Talia? Do we have answers into Azir? I think they should legit ban Aurelion Sol Corki. It's the way. You think GEN.G would try to leave up Ahri? I don't think they should. I think Asol is a good ban for Chovy. Chovy is willing to fucking blind pick this shit, man. Guys, people are talking about Poppy, but I'm telling you this. Poppy support is not good. But Mickey is so fucking good at it that it's good. The other players are not going to play Poppy support. We saw fucking Korea play it, and he was so fucking useless. Like, he was so useless. If you pick Chovy Ari, you are in exact comfort zone. Look at this, okay? Let me show you guys the difference between LPL and... so this is... we do all. I will show you guys LCK. So this is LPL Spring Playoffs, and this is mid lane. In mid lane, it's Talia, Ari, right? And some Azir, Tristana, Nico, right? This is fucking 4 champions are being played. There is no signs of fucking Orianna. There's no signs of... There's very little signs of ASOL as well. And if you compare it to LCK, let's see if this is true what I'm saying. Now, in LCK, you have Prio on Azir, Talia, Orianna, Corki, and then Ari here is 5th. My point being, in LPL, they like to play the champions a lot that work as setup for jungle, you know? The Nico, Ari. This type of meta is where Knight is more comfortable than Chovy, in my opinion. So I think the Chovster wants to play the mages, wants to play the skill matchups, wants to play the farming matchups. I think this is, you know, I think that's the crucial thing, you know. I think. So, Corki ASOL ban, I think that's the way. And then just play against Chovy on Talia, Chovy on Azir. And then you work from there. You choose to ban depending what Knight prefers to play against. It's like, what does he have more answers into? It's like he's willing to play Syndra, he's willing to play Nico, it's willing to play Annie. It's like, what else am I missing that the Knight is willing to play? LB he plays, right? LB he likes to play. Orianna he has played, right? Orianna could be an angle, right? Orianna is very useful. There is Tristana, which is contested, right? So it's fine that it's on this side. And now it's just a question of like, you have to pick your poison, right? You have to pick your poison. What should GEN.G ban? I already put it. I think Nautilus by Ari is good bans. Silas he has in his back pocket too. I think he should just fucking play against this, man. No Akari Silas, I just don't think they are super useful at this tournament. Like, we don't need to fucking put in like random shit, you know, that has too much distance. Like, these are the directions you can go in, right? So I think Billy 3-1, that's my prediction. Is there such a thing as 1v1 drafting? Yeah, I did it a lot with Shavy Baby, man. Who's blue side in GEN.G versus Billy? We don't know. At least I don't know. I don't know if LoL Esports thing is... LoL Esports thing is tougher. It is interesting that Chovy just doesn't want to play Orianna, right? That is kind of weird. Like, look here. This was like a big Orianna year, man. That win ratio is nuts. But no Orianna. No Orianna in like the biggest Orianna year ever, man. Why does he hate Orianna? Bro, the next time Ashley Kang has an interview with Chovy, I'm going to write to Ashley Kang and ask. Here is last Orianna 3. Let's see if there's like some traumatic loss. Traumatic loss on Orianna. Orianna victory. Orianna defeat. GEN.G versus KT Rollster. He lost against this team. Finished him. Holy, the 2-0 against KT, guys. KT, they got 2-0'd by KT, so he lost against Orianna, and then lost with Orianna. And then he never played Orianna again. He played it one time. That is hilarious. That is fucking funny, man. That is fucking hilarious. But look at that build. That build is disgusting. That is a disgusting Orianna build. Hourglass, Shadow Flame, Ludens, Mercs, Corrupting Potion, and Oblivion Orb. He never saw this Corrupting Potion. He has Oblivion Orb for God knows why. We have uncovered the trauma, guys, of Chovy. We've uncovered it, man. Anyhow, I think that's enough for the breakdown. What about Jarvan build? Bro, the Jarvan build is pretty base, don't you think? That's fucking life on Jarvan, bro. It's a classic. Yeah, he played. I did say that he played one game. So, no Orianna Chovy, no Syndra Chovy. He just doesn't like balls. Chovy hates balls. TL versus T1, I already talked about it. I don't know, top esports versus G2? So I do think that Lucian removal makes sense from G2. I don't see a world where they want to play it themselves. And then the question is, like, if they create a scenario where they first pick Varus, Draven, I think that's like the best. I wonder, like, if you are top esports, do you just open with these bans? Like, no joke. Do you just open with these bans? This is where I'm thinking that the top esports are gonna watch those games and just ban Orianna, Zac, and Poppy. I think Zac is the key. Like, these two are the keys to the craziness, and Orianna is good against everything that Cream wants to play. Like, I legit think, like, Cream wants to play Hui, Tristana, he wants to play Ari, and he wants to play Corki, right? I think this is the way, man. I think this is the way. Bandies. Orianna's good against all of these champs. Probably we're gonna see Ari ban, and then like this. Do you really think banning Poppy is needed? Not necessarily, no. I don't think so. But I think they can start there. Could be that they just straight up... Maybe they don't really give a fuck, man. You think Kalista will not be considered? Kalista will be lower prior because everybody plays Draven. But I have to be honest, I don't know how Draven players view Varus against Draven. Maybe they still want to play Draven into Varus. Like, at least in my mind, I'm thinking that Varus should be fine against it, but let's just do some research. Has Jackie Love and have they actually locked it into Varus? So we just do top regions here. So we have Jackie Love. So strong against, it's winning against Varus. Interesting. Weak against Kalista. Strong against Varus. Damn. So Jackie Love played against Kalista, lost against Kalista. It's just into Kalista. But then there's Varus games, and An won them against Weibo. But An is very special. Like, An is a bigger Draven lover than these two. Because he picks it like, he doesn't give a fuck. But I guess Hans Sama is that way too, right? He doesn't give a fuck what he plays against either. I'm just checking. What are the quality of the wins here? This is Draven against, like, all the players that not hyper focused on Draven, pick Draven into Kalista. That's why I'm surprised. But winning games with Draven is hard. So it's like, I do think Draven is good against Kalista. I don't think the win ratio should change what we think about it. But I'm just curious how the Draven players would view it, you know? How would the Draven players view it? Because will we have a scenario where G2 just open Draven 1? I think they will, no? They will Draven 1. They will Draven 1, I think. I think they Draven 1. Now, every lane is super dependent, so that goes without saying. Are we gonna see this? Is this just game 1? I don't think they are gonna do Kalista 1. I don't think Top Esports versus G2 is gonna be Kalista 1, by the way. Kalista will not be super high prio, I think. I think only Top Esports are willing to play Kalista side of the Draven. I don't think that G2 would want to do that. Another funny thing is, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm gonna pull you guys back to Misfits versus Vitality. I'll just pull it up maybe on Leaguepedia because it's easier. 2018 LEC ELCS Summer Playoffs Pick and Ban individual games Vitality. This is Hans Sama banning Draven every game. Draven every game. You know, I planted the seed in Misfit's brain. This was Mickey and Hans Sama, okay? This is Mickey Hans Sama against Attila Jacktroll, okay? And basically what we did in regular split, this is third place. I told my boys, we're gonna fuck their shit up with Draven before, like, how we are going to pick Draven into Hansama. We're gonna get really deep into his brain. Really, really deep into his brain. And we picked Braum. We picked Olaf. We split map. And we're diving Mickey. And after this, Draven ban, Draven ban, Draven ban. Should I write to Mickey? Because I talked about this with Mickey. Anyhow, yeah, I think we cut it there.